Hey guys, Apple here with another video. Today I want to talk about a knife that I've considered making a video on in a long while. The reason why is because I think that its stats are so subjective in if it's good or not, that I feel that it would be perfect for a video. Before getting to the topic though, I want to mention that, as you all sure know, I have had problems with my allergies in a long time, ruining voice recordings and so forth, and even though I still have that problem, I now take a new type of nose spray and some new pills against my allergies, so hopefully I will sound less irritating for you sensitive people out there who can't take my irritating stuffed nose. But anyway, let's start with this video. So, hey Lenny, roll the intro.
My apologies.
Today I want to talk about the Eternal Reward, or for short, the Eternal Reward is a weapon that was added in Man Economy update and since then has not really seen many changes. Its stats makes it one of the most interesting weapons in all of TF2. If you don't already know, the Eternal Reward makes it so you don't have a disguise, but instead when you stab an enemy, you instantly disguise as them. Their body also disappears and the kill doesn't pop up in the kill feed. So I want to ask a question for this video. The question I want to ask is the Eternal Reward underpowered? I think that most people will say no, but really think about it, it is kind of hard to say for sure. I mean, at least it is for me. Though I think the thing that makes the be seen as a worse weapon is what I call the concept of reliability. If you don't know what I am talking about, a way of thinking of this is with the stock weapons on TF2. The stock weapons were created when there were no other weapons than the stock weapons, so they had to be as flexible as possible to represent the whole class. This means that the stock weapons are normally the ones used in competitive environments, since they are the least situational and have concrete stats that have been repeatedly tested by Valve. I mean, think for example of the stock minigun, the rocket launcher, scattergun, sticky bomb launcher and more. These weapons are all really reliable, and if you want something that you just know works in most situations, you always choose the stock unless it's melee weapons. A lot of stock melee weapons are not that great, but normally the primary and secondary is pretty good. Because the newer weapons are more meant to improve the class in a specific field and make it worse than others. This means for example that even though the big earner and the stock knife are balanced, they're not equally reliable. Because even though the big earner has advantages that makes the minus 25 max health capacity okay, the stock knife is just fit for most situations since sometimes the extra health can save you from death. It's kind of the same situation the Eternal Reward is in right now. It's not as useful in all situations, but in specific situations it's great. The question is just, in what situations? And are these situations common enough for it to be a good alternative to the other knives? To answer this question, let's look at the stats again. So the benefit is that you can steal the enemy's disguise, basically replacing them with yourself. I would say this decreases risk of getting caught and to make your kills more silent. And it makes the enemy less paranoid, which is obviously really good if you want to get a stab. It also makes it easier to chain stab and makes it so your positioning is way more realistic and less eye-catching, which is actually really good. And I think that some people may actually not really realize how useful it can be in some situations. Because a lot of times spies actually stick out a lot. I mean, even good spies, they can kind of stick out from other players if you look good enough, and a lot of players can see this. So knowing that your teammate is placed realistically and you just show your teammate a few seconds before shooting at someone, it really makes it harder to see if it's a spy. And it's something that the Eternal Reward is really good at. But another thing that makes the great at a specific job is the fact that you disguise instantly. And this makes it amazing against sentries and getting stabs in areas where sentries can shoot you when you're undisguised. For example, imagine if you have to stab a medic. He's about to activate his supercharge, but an enemy sentry is in range of you. If you backstab the medic, you may get killed by the sentry. Though with your Eternal Reward, getting that stab is no problem since you disguise instantly. There's also a hidden stat with which is that sentries will not target you if you disguise in front of them. This means that the instant you get a stab, they stop targeting you, even if you were undisguised before. With any other knife when disguising, the sentry will know that you're a spy until you're out of range. This means that on pubs where you have all those damn sentries everywhere, as a spy with another knife, it's hard to get a kill without getting killed yourself, thanks to all the sentries you have to deal with. Though with if you already have disguise, the sentries will not target you and you can just simply stab one engineer at a time to take down all of them one by one.
Damn you!
The sentries may also be your specialty with your Eternal Reward, but it's also the hardest thing to counter without a disguise. This makes it really hard to get your first stab on offense, since Red normally has a sentry protecting the area. This makes the Eternal Reward really unreliable, also because it is easy to get spotted without a disguise, so generally it is really situational. No, not the Razorback! Not the Razorback! I don't want to lose my disguise! No! Though here the cloak and dagger can actually be really useful. I've hated the cloak and dagger in a long time, but finally I found a loadout that fits perfectly with this watch. Running with a Lestrander to get additional max cloak capacity and to get that first disguise is actually really good. Though honestly, I think this loadout is more for defense, because there's less injuries, which is of course the biggest weakness when not disguised, and more open space to camp, which is of course a really good thing when you're using your eternal reward. On offense, using the image watch instead is probably better, since you can better infiltrate bases thanks to the extended cloak from metal boxes. So after this, my question is not really if the is underpowered, but if the fact that it's less reliable overweights the advantages that it offers in specific situations. And I think the problem is that I think that the eternal reward is kinda like off-classing in 6v6. In specific situations in 6 vs 6, players off-class to deal with a specific problem, and I think this is how the eternal reward should be used. What I'm saying is running with only one knife may be a wrong way to play. As a spy, you have all these awesome watches and knives, and we should mix it up in game. So if I met, for example, 3 sentries in a game, I mean, that's a bit overkill, but normally there could be 2 or something like that, and it's really hard to take them down without some way of making it so the sentries don't target you. The eternal reward is amazing at dealing with that specific problem. And when I've dealt with that problem, I can switch back to the knife, which is more reliable for other situations. I don't know, maybe I switch to, for example, the big earner to take down like 5 enemies with some chain stabbing. Maybe I need to switch to another watch to fix another problem. I mean, there's so many possibilities with these different knives and these different watches. Not all knives can be the best one, and obviously the stock knife is the best knife overall, but all the spy knives have their own benefits, and it just so happens that the is a bit less useful in most situations. But this is why I think that the knife being less reliable is not a bad thing. It still has its strength. But even if you disagree, I think we can all agree that the stats for the is genius, since it changes your playstyle completely. These kinds of stats are the stats that I personally love, because having items that are a little bit different but don't really change your playstyle, it's just boring to me. So that was my opinion on the eternal reward. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell me in the comment section. While you're there, why not leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing. On that, keep stabbing, keep using your favorite knife the way you want to play with it. Me and my space and Lenny want to say thank you for all the support. On that, Lenny for the outro.